And we are back. And look how pretty we look.
Yes.
Isn't this wonderful?
Butterflies and fruit.
Fruits and butterflies.
That's right.
Our guest right now is Pam Matthews. She's with Pam Matthews Catering and
Wedding
and Catering. And I do know that this is going strictly away from what we're really going to talk about today. But I do know that you're doing the hors d'oeuvres for the Monster Ball Junior Achievement.
Oh, I can't wait for that. That's great.
Folks, you know, it is worth the price of a ticket, and I will get Sandy Moore on here to tell us about it. It's worth the price of the ticket to come see how unique Pam does these wonderful creations.
Serve Mary's leg. You know, we cut Mary's leg.
We had Mary's leg.
And we serve cake in a kitty litter box, you know,
and we had eyeballs of some kind, and we had
bones.
We dug up bones, and anyway, it's wonderful. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about what these beautiful things are that Brene and Pam and I have spread over our laps here, which are wonderful. And as Brene pointed out, you may need these Friday morning.
Exactly.
But there was a great article in the paper about the Common Threads Quilt Show, and I'm going to let Pam have that copy of that. So, Pam, just tell us all about this quilt show.
Okay, this is our 16th annual quilt show.
16th.
16 years of it. We give a quilt away every year. This year, this is our quilt that we're giving away. Butterflies. To get a ticket for the quilt is a admission ticket, $3, and then that's to come in, and then you get a chance on the quilt.
And tell them what all they see when they come in.
We're going to have over 100 quilts there, and it's in a gymnasium, so we hang them up around the rail and down the middle and just anywhere we can find to put a quilt. And we also have food. We have pinto beans and cornbread.
My favorite.
And,
mine too.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of crafters and people that selling fabric, and the Red Ribbon's going to be there selling some of their things. And it's
People
just a
get
lot
to vote.
the viewer's choice, and you go around and you look at the quilts and decide which one you like the best, and then that's what, you know. But it's a lot of fun. It's
a lot of fun.
A lot of community people gets together. In a Common Thread Quilt Club, we've been together over 20 years, and it's not the show's going to be. I didn't even tell where the show's going to be. It's going to be at Mount Olive Ministries.
I was going to bring that up.
It's going to be at Mount Olive Ministries in their gymnasium. And Mount Olive, everybody says, oh, it's Mount Olive Show. Well, no, it's Common Thread Show, because Mount Olive is a community quilt club. We just all different denominations and different people get together and meet. They let us meet at the corner building of Harrison Pike and White Oak Road. Now, if you have any quilts that you want to put in the show, this coming Monday from 3 to about 7, you can bring your quilts and leave them with us, and then that's where you'll pick them up the next Monday.
And I was going to do that.
Yes, I heard about you was going
all enthused, and I was going to do this quilt for this quilt show, because folks, this quilt show is phenomenal. I went last year. It's the first time I'd been. I walked in the door, and I was just, I was
gobsmacked.
Absolutely, that's it. Gobsmacked I was, because beautiful, gorgeous quilts of all shapes and ideas and styles.
Well, we've been to the big
there.
quilt shows in Nashville and Knoxville and all this. Well, quilts have turned more towards art. Like their pictures.
Yeah. Right.
Well, and that's kind of what they do in their whole quilt shows. But with us, we have antique quilts.
Yes.
We have beginners quilts, just different, a variety of quilts.
Well, there was one little gal last year that was so excited. She won. It was her first quilt.
Yeah.
And she won one of the prizes. And,
yeah.
Oh, how exciting.
Oh, she was excited to death. And it was just, so I got all enthused. And so I went home, and in my mind, I got it. I'm going to do a Santa Claus quilt.
Yeah.
So I have done these, I've cross-stitched these Santas.
Yeah.
But I went to the quilt place, and I'm one Santa short.
Oh.
So I'm finishing him up. He's the mixed Scottish Santa, but he's not going to be finished in time for next weekend for the quilt show.
Yeah.
So, but I'll have him for next year.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, that's how wonderful this quilt show is. You just get so enthused.
Anybody can enter. It doesn't matter. We have beginners. We have wall hangings. We have a miscellaneous section, which is like if you have a purse that you've done, a pillowcase, a tablecloth, whatever. That's in miscellaneous. And then we have embroidery. A lot of people embroidery these days, and they've done the quilts and things. And we have an antique quilts section, baby quilts, beginners quilts. Now, I don't know if this year, we did have kids, kids that quilted like from 6 to 16.
Oh, my
We had that a
goodness.
section.
Okay.
We have a men's quilt section, that men's
Wow,
quilt, yeah.
cool.
Do you have very many enter that?
Yeah, we do. We have 3 or 4 men will enter it, yeah.
I think that's
I
wonderful.
think it is too.
You know,
Now-
everybody, this quilt here, somebody give us the squares, and so we just finished it up and had it quilted. This is a fabric from like the 30s and 40s.
So pretty.
And
is. It's beautiful.
so
Yeah.
we usually make the quilt, you know, ourselves, like the squares. But this year, somebody give us these butterflies, and in fact, we've got the pattern that if anybody wants to come to the show, we'll give you the pattern. It's a very simple pattern, and
But I could do that.
yeah, it's an applique pattern.
You say that, Renee.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm
but it
trying to
is-
fill up my retirement hours.
well, it's really what I always do. I've always worked on embroidery or projects
Forever
or
and ever
something.
and ever, yeah.
So I always keep me a bag with me. And like if I have to go somewhere and I'm going to sit for a few minutes or an hour, get your oil changed, whatever, I'm sitting doing this. Or if I'm at the hospital, I'm doing this. When my mother-in-law was in the hospital, I done this grape
See,
square.
I want y'all to see this. This is the most gorgeous quilt right there. It has fruits on it, and
It's applique.
Yeah.
it is. It's
And tell how
applique.
many.
This one right here has 100 applique pieces on it. And I remember
I
doing
can't
this,
do that.
taking this to the hospital when my mother-in-law was in the hospital, and I took it in a pizza box. Pizza box is the greatest thing. You go get an empty pizza box,
Unused.
pizza clean.
Because you do not want your quilt to smell like
no,
pizza.
No. And I would go in to see my mother-in-law, and I would sit and work on this square, and everybody thought I was bringing her pizza, but I wasn't. I was bringing my quilt squares to work on. So I've always just carried stuff around with me to work on, and you'd be surprised what you
How
can
much
get
you can get
done.
done.
You know, and it relaxes you because you can't.
Oh, I
said
know.
if a quilt could talk and tell you the things that a quilt has, because this one I started with my first, or not my first grandson, but my second daughter's first son, and the morning he was born, I started working on this quilt, and I done this lemons here.
Lemons.
Started on that in 2000. 2006, I finished this quilt. So it took me 6 years. So you can see I don't just sit and work on it all the
Right,
time.
yeah.
I just
Right.
take my time, and then he will get this quilt. This is his quilt.
Oh, how neat. Well, I hope
Give
he
me a
appreciates
Corbin
it because
Day.
it's beautiful. It is
I
absolutely
think he
beautiful.
will. He's pretty.
Corbin's going to
he's
get
in
this
his
quilt.
I know my husband, when Flavia and I first got married, I cross-stitch. I just cross-stitch all the time. I love to cross-stitch. And people say,
But
well,
you
that
have
drives
to
me
count,
crazy.
and I don't-
Well,
yeah.
now, see, that doesn't bother me. I just kind of guess sometimes.
Well, I can't
But
see
anyway,
either.
Anyway, Flavis used to tell people, I do not go to sleep at night if she's got that cross-stitch needle in her hand, because he said there's no telling what she's going to cross-stitch. Because I would do it on the airplane. I would do it in the car,
just take-
riding.
yeah.
You take it with you. And so I got all enthused about quilts last year at this quilt show, and Pam, this is just gorgeous.
Isn't it?
Well, this square here, let me tell you a story. This is a cantaloupe.
Yes.
And I went into Walmart to pick out my fabric, and I went to the department where they sell the fruit and veggies. Well, they had a cantaloupe sliced in saran wrap. So I got the cantaloupe, took it
And
with me
carried
to
it
the
around?
material department, picked out my fabric that matched.
And then
I
took
did.
your cantaloupe
I
back.
I know, and people think crafters are crazy, and we are, because we do things like that.
But I really did, and so I think that turned out, looked like a cantaloupe.
It's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous,
yes.
and it is not one of those that's causing food poisoning.
No,
folks.
it is
this
not.
Is, this is
This is
not one of
totally
those
safe.
cantaloupes.
Yeah.
So you are totally and completely safe with that. But she has all kinds. There's plums.
Oh,
there's,
these are-
it's gorgeous. It's absolutely
Just
gorgeous.
take a bite out of this.
And really, and the colors
And the cherries.
are so
Look at the
good.
red. Look at the cherries over
And-
there. Isn't that gorgeous?
And folks, if y'all could actually see this up close, but now you can.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can.
It's gonna be show this
the
year.
weekend, and it's the 6th and the
7th and 8th.
7th and 8th. Okay. It's
Yes.
See,
And
I
they have
hadn't heard all
breakfast
that.
too.
Yes.
They have breakfast.
Oh, they do.
I'm just going to read this since I haven't
ahead.
said this.
Go
It's
ahead, because-
October the 7th and 8th at Mount Olive Ministries on Harrison Pike. It's $3 admission, and this quilt with the butterflies
Butterflies.
is going to be the door prize. On Friday, we open at 8 to 7 on Friday. We serve breakfast from 8 to 11. And we serve lunch and supper from 11 to 7, beans and cornbread. Then we're open on Saturday from 8 to 4, and we serve breakfast again. And then we serve hot dogs and chili that day because we got to make, we take our leftover beans and make chili out of it.
That's right.
You know, recycle.
Recycle. That's exactly right. There's no need to throw those beans out.
And
That's exactly
and
right.
the money that we get from these last year, we give the Caring Place, Pregnancy Center,
New Hope.
Pregnancy Center, and there's different churches that we've give to. Over the years, at first, instead of giving money, we'd buy, because it takes too long to make a quilt. So instead of giving quilts away, we would buy the little quilts and give them away. And I know we have give over 1,000 quilts away like that, like the blankets and things.
Yes.
And this year we've done like 20 or 25 quilts for the veterans home. We do.
Oh, I saw that. Yes, and that's wonderful.
Yeah, and then we do cancer quilts, and we give them where, you know, when they have cancer treatments, they can take it and put it up around them, and so we really work. But when we started, one thing was quilting. People don't get together enough. Ladies don't get together enough.
Absolutely.
There's no community anymore.
And so that's why we started. It was to get together and talk and have a good time, and quilting too, because I was interested in it, you know, to find out about quilting. And then it just started that then different women just kept joining us, and we'd talk, and one lady'd say, "This is better than going to a therapist because you just talk."
Absolutely, it
women
is.
just don't get together enough no more, and
No,
to talk
and
out
this
their
social networking.
Right.
Poo-poo. I'm sorry, folks.
You know,
I would
everybody-
much rather
everybody-
face
I
to
want a
face.
face. I
You know,
want a
everybody
face.
texts, you know, these days, and women needs to get it out and talk. And that's why when I go to Walmart, I'm not going to that where you scan your own stuff. I want a human in front of me.
Me too. Me too.
You know, so that's why the quilting club. And sometimes we might just come and sit there and embroidery or work. Everybody works on their own project. The building that they let us use every Monday night, we meet from 6 to 8. It's at the corner of Harrison Pike and White Oak Road. It's a little building. It used to be a store building, and they let us use that. And then I might sit and embroidery something. You might sit and cross stitch, because the room we can't set up a quilt in it. We tried to set up a quilt in it to quilt, but then there's so many different things down there that Mount Olive uses for different things that we couldn't. So
Right.
then we just bring our own projects, and then some weeks we bring our sewing machines and sit and sew and stuff. So it's just a lot of different fun. And like I say, a lot of people says, well, Mount Olive's having a show. Well, no, it's Common Threads having
Common
a show.
Threads, and I
They're
think I
just
made the
very
mistake
good.
saying Mount Olive, but Common
They're
Threads.
just good about letting us use the building. Very good about letting us use the building.
And folks, this is such a stress reliever.
Oh.
I mean, you can just, if you are mad at Flavis that day, you can
Stick that
really get
needle
those
in there.
needles going. And if it's been very calm, then you need to do something pretty. If you're sad, but almost all quilts have a story.
They
Yes.
do. That's what I'm saying. If a quilt could talk to you,
Absolutely.
Like I was happy when my grandson was born,
Right.
you know, and I was working on it. And then when my mother-in-law, it was sad. But and then I've had people tell me they've worked on them during deaths, maybe like
Right.
waiting on somebody, like
Yeah.
you're waiting on
Like,
somebody.
yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
and so you're working on something like that. If a quilt could just talk, because sometimes you're happy working on it, sometimes
Right.
you're sad, and you probably have teardrops.
You
know,
might.
on
That's
a quilt.
exactly
You know,
right.
it's just a quilt's just something comforting, and you don't have to be the world's best. Let me tell you, I'm not the world's best, but I try.
I'll tell you one
Oh
thing.
my goodness! I would like to see anybody
I would
better
argue.
than that.
Yeah, I would
That's
argue
right.
with that.
But I try. But this is this year our quilters. I told them, I said, I want a challenge, a quilt challenge. So I give them a piece of fabric, and it's about the Civil War. It was a
Oh.
piece of fabric with Lee and Grant on it, and I told him, I said, I don't care if you make it a little size, if you cut the thing apart that I give you, I don't care. Make me a quilt out of it. I don't care if it's a quilt, a lap quilt, a pillow, I don't care. So that's our challenge, and so we're going to have that hanging
So
up.
we'll see some of those.
So all different, and they said, why Civil War? I'm not interested in the Civil War. I said, it's 150th
It
anniversary.
is. It is.
It's
It
our
was the
history.
That is right. It is. Sad as it may be.
Exactly.
Pam, thank you so much
you're
for coming
more than
on.
welcome.
Now, folks, let me tell you, here's how this works. You go right by Southern Roots
There
to
you
get
go,
out
that's
there to
right.
Mount Olive. So we didn't realize we coordinated so well today. And also, this is family right here. And I didn't realize that until it was already done. But anyway, this is just so the quilt show is, give us a date.
October 7th and 8th.
7th and 8th at
It's
Mount Olive.
It's Friday and Saturday.
Friday and Saturday. And we want to see you all out there. And folks, I'm telling you right now, you'll become inspired.
Yes.
And Pam, thank you so much.
more than
These are
welcome.
lovely. And these are just only samples of what you're going to see,
Oh,
folks.
yeah.
Just samples.
Oh, yes.
And all different styles and everything. We have to take a real quick commercial break, and we'll come back on with one of our sponsors. Byron Winter from Landmark Insurance and Brokerage will be on with us. So don't go away. And we'll see if Byron can quilt.
Quilt.
Or crochet.